When you saw that scene just as a viewer, how did it feel to get that like connection to here we go?
Oh, you talking about in the Superman?
In the Superman film, our first meeting of Kara.
We had already shot the movie.
You already shot
amazing.
the movie? Welcome back to another episode of DC Studios Showcase. I'm nerd commentator Frankey Smith.
I'm pop culture pundit Coy John-Dro.
And this is a safe space for us to nerd out and talk about everything from DC Studios.
And Supergirl coverage continues today.
I'm very excited. We have Craig Gillespie coming in.
Yes, a genius. I love his work. I cannot wait to talk about it, but I am more afraid to know what this hot take's gonna be.
Of course you are. And let me tell you, this one is a really hot one. Everyone's gonna kill me at home, but I have an explanation, I promise, okay? All right, I'm sorry, just hear the fanboys in my head. Supergirl don't got that dog in her. Yeah. If she lived the world of I, Tanya, or even Corella, she couldn't handle it. You know what I'm saying? She couldn't even fight off a red ring. Okay?
I will counter that not only does she have that dog in her, she's that dog.
Oh, okay.
Supergirl is able to overcome the nature versus nurture question. She's able to not just be someone that is able to find the ability to love, but she went through like the greatest atrocities and still finds compassion and passion.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's like she's the epitome of
Twitter. Could she handle Joan Rivers when that came out?
Not only could she handle Twitter, she could speed through everything while multitasking, getting other stuff done, and still come out on top. Like, she's got the ferocity, she's got the intelligence, she's got the heart, and she's lived through enough to know that people are being trivial.
I think that she's impressive. I agree. I think she's strong and she's done a lot. I just think that if she didn't have all of that, she may not have that dog in her.
She's like Superman is the one that doesn't have that dog because she does. Like, if you look at the two of them, it's like Kara's the one that epitomizes being able to handle stuff that even Clark can't.
So you
What's the definition? What's the definition
of the dog?
Yeah,
What's the dog?
Let's back it up.
Are you cutthroat enough? And it's not can you fight? It's like, can you take that extra stuff? I feel like I always see Supergirl, she's
cutting throats.
She's stressed. Every time I see her, she's stressed.
Because she's that dog.
No. The dog is Batman.
Okay.
Fighting off a yellow ring and saying, that's not for me.
We gotta ask.
That dog enough.
I think Craig, we'll ask Craig, but I would say, my audience, people of the internet, she is that dog.
She's that dog.
And she's
we're not talking about fighting, we're not talking about
No, we're just talking about like that gumption, that funk. Like, it's like an energy, right? Like that's the definition.
I agree. Well,
okay.
Let's get into Craig and talk about his work.
I'm wound up.
Because he talks about women with that dog in him. I feel like a lot of his films really highlight women who like have this like hard life and persevere through that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
his whole filmography is underdogs that are able to handle themselves.
Yes.
And it's like Lars and the Real Girl is one of my favorite absurdism comedies. It is so captivating and odd, but you feel so much connection, and I think that's so perfect for this movie and everything he's done since as well. Like, I know you're a huge Cruella fan.
I'm a bigger I, Tanya fan.
All right.
I love a good dirtbag. You know, we definitely talk about it with Jason Momoa, but I love someone who's like from the hood and is like really fighting through it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I, Tanya really works with it. And I came with that hot take because I thought to myself, like, would Supergirl like use an ice skate and like get the mob to get her competitor down?
I think she would. I think there's shades of that dog. But she's also, to me, like, she's like the pinnacle. Like, I feel like if she needed to grab a skate, she would.
Yeah.
But like also Dumb Money, which is something I really love that came out only a couple years ago, that it's showing kind of the state of our world as a commentary. There's a lot in his filmography that I think translates to Supergirl in a way that I was so excited to see his name attached.
Yeah.
I've seen every film he's ever directed.
You've seen every single film?
I'm a huge fan of this man.
Really?
Yeah, like this is exciting for me.
So you're gonna keep it together when he comes out here?
I'm gonna be like, I like your work.
You're gonna be chill. That's a good practice.
I'm gonna keep that dog in me.
You're gonna keep that dog. We're gonna work on what that dog means.
The definition is so abstract.
And that's the point, and that's how you can both be right and wrong about it, because like, what does that dog mean to you? What I love about Craig's work, keep it together, Coy.
I'm just picturing the audience right now, just like, what does that dog mean?
They're gonna hate
to
it.
You?
To you. And that's the existential question that I feel like all of his characters
Well, that's what we're gonna ask Craig first.
Do you think he knows what that dog means?
We're gonna find out.
Okay.
And is it different in Australia?
I feel like anything that has a reference to an animal is different
Because they survive every animal.
Yeah.
That is a dangerous
That's
place.
actually Krypton.
Yeah,
Earth.
everything is trying to hurt you.
Yes, yes.
It's interesting. I mentioned that there's shades of that dog.
Yeah.
But I also think that certain stories, she gets to show that. And I think, if anything, Craig made sure that Supergirl has that dog in her. And this is the story of that.
Who can we believe, though, right? Because the story, from my knowledge, is in third person, told by an unreliable narrator.
But if enough stories epitomize that dog, then one proves themselves to have that dog in them.
He's biased, but let's see.
We're rolling.
Oh, we're rolling. All right, we're rolling.
Yeah.
But we're
I know, we're actually done.
Yeah, that's it.
This was
Did you
it.
enjoy your
He's like,
interview,
so
Frankie? He's like, by the way, that's it?
It was great, guys. Thank you.
Now, Craig, we were talking about how all of the characters in your films has that dog in them. Do you know what that means? Because I saw it in your face.
I don't think you mean literally Krypto.
No, not literally.
what I said.
Krypto, but they have like a fighting spirit,
Yes.
and they're willing to go that extra mile. Do you feel like your Kara does?
For sure. It's something, I don't know, there's probably a theme in there that I haven't quite worked out in therapy yet. It's like very much underdogs I'm attracted to. And trying to figure out their identity in a way, or trying to figure out going through some kind of trauma or life-changing experience. And I was immediately attracted to this script with Anna Nagari. And when she wrote it, it's like the first two scenes out of the gate, it sets the tone of the movie. And also like where she's starting with this, and it's miles from where Superman is.
I've seen every film you've directed. I'm a very big fan of your balance of absurdism, dark comedy, and drama, and I think that's such a high wire act. And when you were announced for this book in particular, I was so excited. Like,
We
your
had to
name.
reel him in.
Yeah,
earlier.
I was so like.
Craig is coming.
But the attachment to those kind of dualities is so interesting for a comic book character. When you're approaching a script and you see those balances of dark comedy, how do you find the levels to play? Is it in pre-production? Is it in casting? Is it in on the day, editing?
Look, first of all, you have to have it with the actor.
Yeah.
Like it's like trying to teach somebody to have rhythm. If they don't have it, they don't have it.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm unbelievably fortunate. I didn't actually cast Milly. James cast her for Superman. But I couldn't have been more excited, and it was a huge attraction for me. Like when I came in to pitch to get the film, because I love her work. I love the nuance she has, and biasly being Australian,
It's like the second one.
yeah, I felt like
Margot
we would
Robbie.
have that sense of like we have a sense of humor. We have the shorthand there, and a banter, and those are things, attributes that you can't. It's in their DNA. So knowing we had that to start with. Then it's like you just have to play with the bracketing it. It's like I will on the day I will be throwing lines out to Milly as she's filming.
Wow.
And it's great to have I do that often with actors. I love to be right by the camera, and might just go again and be like I'll throw a different line out or another line that they can react to, or sometimes they won't even know it's coming. But to be able to have that sort of free form and keep it spontaneous, and then you get in the edit and you decide. Where is it too much? Like, do we need it? Do we need a little lightness here, or is this not the moment for it? Interestingly, it's like you kind of discover it as you go along.
I think that's what makes all of your films feel so lived in, and it feels like you film everything in chronological order.
We tried to do that as much as possible in this film, which was great because, I mean, we did go on location. I guess I'm allowed to say, we went to Iceland, we went to Scotland.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of it. We built massive sets. So because we were building these sets, we got to pretty much go chronologically.
No, I feel like you are drawn to eccentric, misunderstood women characters. What is it about that draws you to those stories?
Well, yes, it seems to be that I've done quite a few female characters, but, Laz and the Real Girl.
Eccentric
Still about
man,
the
I
girl.
love
This is the girl.
the real girl.
Yeah.
She's a doll.
She's a doll,
Yeah,
but,
Paul Dano and Dumb Money. It's just definitely an outlier. It's I think it's just a character thing, and it's it's sort of I just relate to it. And I think it's something everybody has on a human level. I don't think people ever feel like they fit in. They always feel like that imposter syndrome, and there's always things that it's like there's no such thing as a normal family.
I also love that you choose to build a story out from this conceit is so absurd, and you have to find the human in it. Dumb Money shouldn't be a true story.
No.
The idea of that actually happening
That's
doesn't.
the high wire act, and it's even just but I am a fan of superhero films, but this one, and obviously there's there's some very dark, there's a wide range of what that arena is. But the opening scene with Milly, where we find her in a bar, alone with Krypto, and that dance of like the humor and the vulnerability, it's immediately I was invested in her as a character and wanted to go on that journey with her. And seeing that James and Peter had the courage to like go that far, it's unlikely. You don't usually see that flawed a superhero. That conflicted morally,
And it beautifully sets up a universe because you've got a movie where you're with this dog the whole time, assuming that Krypto and Superman, and finding out...
You've not read the script.
Sorry. But I love that setup of like, we get to meet a very different Kara in one movie, and that immediately makes the universe feel different, and immediately launches it to a point. When you saw that scene, just as a viewer, as someone, like whenever you got to see that moment, how did it feel to get that like connection to here we go?
Oh, you're talking about in the Superman?
In the Superman film, our first meeting of Kara.
We had already shot the movie.
You already shot
amazing.
the movie? Wow.
That makes me happy to know.
So the movie was done by then, and you were like, oh, well, this is
Yeah, no,
So
but it like beautifully set up her character. Like she's going on her bender.
Now, the
immediately.
The comic book plays a lot with the unreliable narrator, and so does things like I, Tonya. Did you bring that into the film as well?
Oh, that's like I'm going to go with a simple no on that. Maybe I shouldn't be giving that away.
I mean,
but no, that was interesting. In the comic book, obviously, it's all from Ruthie's perspective.
Yeah.
We didn't choose to go that route, per se, but, it's very much, the two of them.
And we were talking right before air, there were two moments. I was at CinemaCon, and that experience of getting to feel an audience that maybe hasn't read Woman of Tomorrow, it's one of my favorite DC books, but getting to feel hundreds of people discover the tone. The moment that Lobo, not even Jason Momoa, but Lobo arrives on a space hog, and then the footage including details like the falling asleep and like some of the alien design and all those things, I imagine, having worked on this for so long and being so attached to it, does it feel good to be in this place of like, and now people are discovering my baby?
I don't know yet if it's going to feel good. I hope so. It's funny, I'm so close to it.
Yeah.
They say we're coming up on like a year and 10 months now of like, and it's an enormous amount of people involved in this process. It's like, with all the aliens, there's probably 50 or 60 practical aliens.
Wow.
Yeah, you did full effects?
But as much as we could with everything, it's in camera. So Legacy did some amazing animatronics. And then, Jason, like he turns up for his first day. It's the biggest stage we have in Leavesden. We've built a town square that he can ride a motorcycle through. We've got 6 tanks in there. We've got a tank that blows 40 feet in the air, all practical. And he's got a practical bike, no cables. He's got, I'm sure, a lot of stressed executives.
Insurance waivers.
There's going to be a big fireball behind you. If you feel something, don't. And he pulls, and he has to like do a slide into it, like land on a mark. On his first take. That's his first
in the
take.
trailer.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, we were talking about like that's the trailer moment. That beautiful.
I'm like, don't overshoot. There's a techno coming in.
Now you direct a lot of stunts. I mean, clearly on this, and also in I, Tonya, I saw that Margot Robbie did that whole first minute of her choreography from her.
She was amazing. She's 6 months of training.
Wow.
Which was scarier for you, like the ice skating or like the?
I gotta say, there's massive stunts in this, and it's like at one point, my lead stuntman turned around and said, "This is the biggest stunt that I've done." And it's Lobo driving through a lot of explosions and guys getting ratcheted every which way. And it was all in camera, and we'd have like 6 cameras going, and we didn't do a lot of takes.
Why was it important for you to have it all in camera?
I feel like you can feel it.
Yeah.
I think audiences are so savvy. And they're so attuned to that, and it's something that I admire in some other filmmakers, like Christopher Nolan and Denny. And it's like when you get to we have such a keen eye now. It's like everybody's so aware of their film knowledge. So as much as you can get in camera, it forces the visual effects department to have to step up to that level.
I saw the Lord of the Rings for the first time 2 years ago, and that's like super practical. And now I have like a totally different like appreciation for practical effects. So that's so cool to hear that you're really into it.
And as someone who's seen not 10 but 14 minutes,
you
I
go.
really appreciate you feel it. You really do. And this is a cosmic space opera. So the fact that you invested so much in it feeling real to us means a lot to me as someone that loves the book. So I cannot wait. I really appreciate how much you love this character, man.
Thank you. It's a pleasure, guys.
And I love your
you
work,
so
all of it.
much.
Thank you.
You're so incredible. You're so much fun.
Thank you, guys. That was great.
Hearing about the amount of practical, hearing about the stunts, hearing about like his passion. The only thing I wish we had more time is he said, I love comic book movies. And like, it was right at the end. I was like, but what other? Because I'd love to know what his, you know what I mean? Like that next time we talk to him, that's my main like mission.
And I love that he was so into practical effects.
And I've been wondering for years, since honestly, Larger Than a Real Girl, which I think I saw in 2010, like where he finds the comedy.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the comedy because I do want to recommend a comedy TV show to you.
Okay.
I think will fit right into like, if you like Craig's work, you'll love this. It's called Search Party.
Okay.
And it is so good. It's about a group of like millennials in Bushwick, and they are the worst people in the world, and someone that they know goes missing.
Okay.
And it's about, you know, unlikable women and things like that. And the last season was like a surprise to everyone, including the writers. And whatever you think, if I had you guess what the last season was about, you're going to be wrong.
Okay.
Like, make one quick guess.
The Fall of Constantinople.
Wrong.
Okay.
Okay, wrong. But please watch it. It's incredible, especially if you like these like eccentric, misunderstood type women. You'll love Search Party.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you got for me?
I'm going to recommend the thing I've been talking about all day. I'm going to stick with Craig's work, and I don't think nearly enough people have seen Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I saw a piece of it because of today.
Okay.
I didn't finish it, but I love Ryan Gosling.
So this is early Ryan Gosling. This is Ryan Gosling, like, in a role that I think really informed a lot of his work thereafter.
Yeah.
And we were talking right after we cut about how much improv Ryan Gosling was able to bring to that role. And I think there's such a lived-in experience of comedy with it. And I think that off-the-beaten-path comedy is something they don't make much anymore because it's so risky. Like, it's really hard to invest money in something that's so specific to someone's sense of humor. So they say all the time, like, they don't make them like that anymore. I think Lars and the Real Girl is one of those ones they don't make like that anymore.
Yeah.
And it's 20 years old next year.
Really?
2007.
Ryan Gosling is one of the few actors who could be believably nerdy
Yeah.
and believably hot.
He is both a jock and a nerd.
Yes.
And inside, I think he's a little of both.
Yes.
And I think that's why he's such a good Barbie. I mean,
Okay.
Ken.
Ken.
He's just Ken.
He's just Ken.
But Lars and the Real Girl is so good. Highly recommend it. And it's the first of this journey of his work leading to Supergirl. So definitely check it out.
Well, once again, thank you all for joining us. This is DC Studios Showcase. I'm nerd commentator Frankey Smith.
I'm pop culture pundit Coy Jandreau.
And we want to hear from you. Be sure to leave comments. Tell us your hot takes. We look at them. I promise. We'll be reading your stuff.
And we want to incorporate you guys into the stuff we talk about on the show. So if you have anything you want us to talk about, if you have any ideas, let us know.
And if you want to talk to us directly, you can hit me up anywhere at Fantastic Frankey, Frankey.
You can find me far too many places at Coy Jandreau, Coyjandreau.
And while you guys are here, be sure to like, share, and subscribe us if you are on YouTube, or, you know, rate us very high on some of those podcast apps. That's our episode. Thank you all for joining us. And don't forget to check out Supergirl in theaters June 26th.
See you in theaters. This was an OBB sound production for HBO, hosted by me, Coy Jandreau, and Frankey Smith. Executive producer for HBO is Becky Rowe. Executive producers for DC Studios are Gary Barbosa and Philip Soponides. Executive producers for DC are Mike Pilata and Victor Diaz. Executive producers for OBB are Michael Ratner, Scott Ratner, and Toby Lawless. Producer for HBO is Aaron Kelly. Producer for OBB, Toby Lawless. Research producer, Sam Harrison. Production manager, Kevin Lynn. Production coordinator, Terry Kraft. Associate producer, Sam Harrison. Talent booker, Aaron Bandler. Editor, Adam Grabarnik. Post-production supervisor, Mariana Chrysostoma. Assistant editor, Mark Alcacid. Production accountant, Bobby Hanna and Zachary Steinberg. Director of photography, Heath Gresham. First assistant camera and camera operator, Chris Piper. Key grip, Sam Satosky. Production designer, Liz Klikowski. Art director, Michelle Hall. Sound mixer and editor, Josh Falcon. On-set mixer, Darren Bowling. Hair and makeup artist, Kendall Shannon. Production assistant, Max Jordan. Senior Director, Creative Development and Social Strategy, Lenore Castra. Manager, Creative Development and Social Strategy, Sharif Bakari. Special thanks to Graphics and Artwork, HBO Max Concept and Design Studio. Special thanks to illustrations by Ariel Cologne.